Yeah, this bloody eye thing is not even a little bit cute. Not at all. I broke a bunch of blood vessels in my eye. I know that has nothing to do with anything right now. And let me try to do one of these so you don't have to like look at it. But I figured I'd explain it real quick. Basically, I have a hypersensitivity to caffeine, and I realized I accidentally ingested something with caffeine in it. So I made myself throw it up so that I wouldn't wind up possibly in the hospital. And that's actually the first time that I actually like made myself vomit like in my whole entire life. I don't understand how the people with eating disorders do that. That was so awful. Not only did I break the blood vessels in my eye, but it was all over my face too. Like my whole face was like, oh, they look terrible. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So let me get into the news. Today's story that I want to talk about, I think it's something really important, especially for you guys, my viewers. As of late, I've been really concerned about the shortages of things that have been going on, like lumber and such. And I found this really good article that I wanted to share with you so that you can be ahead of the curve. You don't want to be the person who's stuck without toilet paper in the next giant, what's the new toilet paper? And apparently, I guess the new toilet paper is the old toilet paper, like the toilet paper shortage come back again. Anyway, let me just jump over into this article here so that you guys can be prepared. Great article here from Business Insider. Can't find chicken wings, diapers, or a new car? Here's a list of all the shortages hitting the reopening of the economy. And this is just a photo here of empty shelves and shoppers at a Target in Dublin, California on March 15th, 2020. Bullet points here. As the U.S. economy increasingly reopens, it's seeing shortages of all sorts of items. If you tried to buy or rent a car, which I have, or eat some chicken wings, you probably noticed. Insider rounded up some of the major supply shortages and why they're lagging. Okay, number one, here we go. Computer chips. An ongoing computer chip shortage has affected cars, iPads, and dog washing technology alike. Chip makers like Intel have already seen production issues pre-pandemic, but as with many industries, COVID-19 brought a variety of new supply chain issues. The chip shortage is a problem for consumers wanting basically anything with a computerized component, which is much of the economy. Take cars as an example. The semiconductor shortage has hit automakers the hardest. In January, the consulting firm Alex Partners estimated the automotive industry would lose $61 billion in revenue from the shortage this year. As Insider's Katie Canals reported, demand for chips has gone up as consumers scrambled to buy cars and other technologies that use them. But as more cars went into production, chip competition went up. Since then, many car makers have been forced to shut down plants and prioritize which models they produce, while car prices at dealerships have continued to go up. Last week, Tesla CEO Elon Musk said the semiconductor shortage has caused insane difficulties for the electric car maker. Even Apple, a company that many thought would be able to dodge the shortage after it started making its own high-powered computer chips last year, said it will delay production on its iMac and iPad. And just to add a little bit of my own personal experience to the car portion, over where I live, I know that the local Ford dealership owner is talking about how he's going to have to start laying people off because there are simply not enough cars to sell. They're just not getting new cars in. All right, used and rental cars. Buyers are still looking for vehicles, creating a competitive used car market. As USA Today reported, used car prices are on the rise as the aforementioned chip shortages affect new car production, and buyers have turned to older ones instead. While Axios reported the average price of a used car has hit $17,609. A UBS note estimated that in April, used cars saw their largest monthly price increase in 68 years of tracking, with prices rising between 8.2 and 9.3%. If you're looking to rent, you might also be out of luck. Insider's Brittany Chang reported on the perfect storm hitting rental cars right now, with prices surging and demand increasing. Americans are itching to go on vacation this summer as more people are vaccinated and some restrictions loosen. That's leading to far more demand, but rental car companies have sold off parts of their fleets early into the pandemic, leaving fewer cars to go around. And I have a friend who his company flew somebody into Texas for business purposes, and there were no rental cars at all in in the city of Houston. It's pretty insane. They got rid of all the cars, and now because of these chip shortages, they can't replace them. Now, this article says here, it's not all bad news for used car lovers, though, as USA Today reports the trade-in market is hot too, meaning your old car could be worth more right now. So once again, I have another friend. His father was offered $5,000 on top of the price that he had recently paid for his Corvette. And he's not the only person. I know another person who recently bought a car from the Kia dealership. The Kia dealership is calling people, these dealerships are calling people who've recently purchased cars and asking them if they're interested in selling them back because there are no more cars. It's getting kind of crazy. If you're in desperate need of a car and you have the money for it, you might want to get one. Like, I'm good on my car, thank goodness. But if I was in the market for a new car, I would be very concerned, especially because I have never bought like a new car. I've only ever bought like a new used car, but it's new to me. Maybe one day I'll have an actual new car, but not this day. Gas. Industry experts say drivers will face fuel shortages this summer. Demand for fuel and interest in travel has risen as vaccination rates have increased. Lower gasoline production rates have also made the commodity more valuable as OPEC has been slow to curb production cuts. Gas prices have skyrocketed in recent months, jumping 22.5% in March from the previous year, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Price Index. Much of the surge in gas prices started with the extreme Texas freeze, which halted a fifth of the country's oil refining capacity in its tracks for weeks at a time. Gas and oil prices soared further in early May, following the country's largest fuel pipeline being shut down by a ransomware attack. And we all know that Biden basically gave ransomware attackers the green light by saying, hey, you know what? This isn't a government problem. This is like a private industry problem.
So first, we recognize that victims of cyber attacks often face a very difficult situation, and they have to just balance often the cost benefit when they have no choice with regard to paying a ransom. Colonial is a private company and will defer information regarding their decision on paying a ransom to them.
If you would, would the administration offer any advice on whether or not to pay a ransom?
So typically that is a private sector decision, and the administration has not offered further advice at this time. Given the rise in ransomware, that is one area we're definitely looking at now to say what should be the government's approach to ransomware actors and to ransoms overall.
Right, so who cares that there's a giant pipeline shut down? After all, this is the same guy who, like 5 minutes into office, decided that the Keystone Pipeline needed to be shut down. And then at the same time, we have crazy Gretchen Whitmer also trying to shut down pipelines. It's insane. But of course, it's part of their whole great reset thing where you have nothing and you're happy. Except the people I know aren't happy. The people that I know have been affected by the Keystone pipeline shutdown. And I know that the American public did not vote for this. All right, it takes us back to plastics and palm oil. The devastating winter storms in Texas also left their mark on the plastics industry, as Insider's Natasha Daly reported. The state is a key plastics exporter, and the storms have made many plants, which are difficult to reactivate, press pause. According to the Financial Times, rising plastic prices have led to an increase in packaging costs. Citing data from MintTech, the Financial Times reported that those costs have increased by nearly 40% from the start of 2020, marking historic highs. Palm oil, which is in a majority of those packaged products, also saw its prices climb, according to the Financial Times. That's due to yet another labor shortage. The industry had already been contending with finding more sustainable production methods. In September, Insider's Rachel Premack reported that pay for truck drivers was on the rise, coming in at record-smashing levels. But the pay hike and increased demand comes after an exodus of drivers in 2019. Premack reported at the time on what some called a trucking bloodbath, as trucking companies saw profits fall, with some even going bankrupt. Now demand is surging, according to the Journal, and if everything continues as is, that gap could deepen. Demand is surging for ride shares too, but drivers are not matching it. In March, Uber saw its highest ever number of bookings. The company even said drivers in some cities were making over $40 an hour. Even so, current and former drivers outlined some of their concerns with returning to Insider's Tyler Sonamaker. Chief among them were pandemic safety concerns and holding out for better offers. In fact, Insider's Tom Dotan reported more than half of Uber and Lyft drivers have stopped, driving. Both platforms have offered incentives to lure drivers back, and Uber has said it'll pour $250 million into getting those drivers back out. Sonamaker reported effectively bribing drivers back onto the platform. Here's another one: vacation houses and homes. The U.S. was facing a shortage of 3.9 million homes as of April, according to Freddie Mac. Home builders have been struggling to keep up with demand as remote work fuels interest in spacious housing. The house prices are rising at their fastest pace in 15 years. The Wall Street Journal reported lumber prices are also driving the cost of new homes even higher. And I'll tell you what, I know of some people who work in the construction industry who they just lost $40,000 on a house that they're building because they already had it under contract and they had contracted to one specific price, but then they go to buy the lumber, they go to buy the materials, they find that everything has skyrocketed, but they're already locked into this contract. So people are eating losses. But then I've also seen other people who are in that industry where they have been able to split the losses 50-50 with the people who are trying to build the homes, but things are getting out of control. In the past year alone, the median cost of a home in the US shot up 15% from $300,000 in 2019 to $340,000 by the end of 2020, according to data from the National Association of Realtors. That measure does not even begin to account for hot housing markets like Austin, Texas, where the average home went for more than $800,000 in April. Other weird things I've seen, just people driving up and down my street and asking us if we know of any houses that are for sale. Also, other people who live, my other friends who kind of live kind of near to me, they've had offers just put on their house. Their house isn't even on the market. And people are offering crazy amounts of money for their house, which is in a nice area. And, you want to think about taking it, but then you're like, okay, what am I going to buy next? I can make all this money, but then I'm going to be out of a house. So the housing market is just crazy. I have another family member who's trying to buy a house right now. It's impossible. People are waiving inspections, which is ridiculous. People are offering way over the asking price. So much so that a lot of these offers are getting rejected by the bank because the bank is coming back with appraisals and they're saying, hey, like these houses aren't worth that much. So the people who are buying houses now have to have a lot of money out of pocket. And another one of my friends who is a realtor who works for a really large realty company said that at one of their latest meetings, they're projecting this market to be like this for the next 5 years. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. If you're looking for a house, my friend says to buy 2, but I'm not trying to give, official real estate advice because then, I'm sure somebody could come and sue me. Although on my list of a billion jobs that I've had, I actually was a realtor and I have sold homes before. I just let my license go because I wasn't doing enough business. But wow, I wish I had it now and I was in this market because I would be making buku bucks. Yeah, you're going to find out I've had, the longer you watch me, the more jobs you're going to find out I've had. I'm like jack of all trades, master of none. I do and have done everything. Even vacation home rentals are at an all-time high. A house in the Hamptons rented for $2 million this summer, and 85% of vacation rentals in popular destinations like Cape Cod, the Outer Banks, and the Jersey Shore are booked through August, according to rental site VRBO. Lumber. My goodness, guys, is lumber out of control or what? If you are wondering why houses around you are getting more expensive, look at their component parts. No, seriously, lumber prices have soared as insiders Eilert Sheffy and Libertina Brandt reported. Builders are even increasing housing prices. It's due to another pandemic disruption as lumber mills were forced to temporarily close for safety concerns. When they reopened, they couldn't keep up with a scorching hot housing market goosed by a work from home economy, record low mortgage rates, and the need for more personal space during the pandemic. According to an April analysis from the National Association of Home Builders, soaring lumber prices added $36,000 to the cost of a new home. Lumber prices remain stubbornly high, according to the report, due to mills shutting down, unexpected demand from big box retail and DIYers, and tariffs imposed on Canadian lumber. Household products like toilet paper and tampons. Many household goods, including toilet paper, diapers, and tampons, are also facing supply problems. One of the biggest producers of the pulp used to create toilet paper told Bloomberg that port delays and high shipping costs are causing companies to push delivery dates back months. Shortages and shipping delays are causing many companies to hike prices. Last month, Procter & Gamble said it would raise prices for baby care and feminine care products, as well as adult diapers, to combat shortages and shipping costs. The same week, Kimberly-Clark hiked its prices of Huggies diapers and Scott toilet paper. Now, thank goodness I don't need adult diapers or even like regular diapers. However, when I leave here, I'm going to go get myself some female products because I'm not trying to live like it's the 1800s and I'm using rags, okay? I mean, worst case scenario, yeah. But no, if you're a lady, get yourself some female products. Or hey, if you're somebody who needs either baby diapers or adult diapers, toilet paper, some of these things you may want to stock up on. I'm not a full out prepper. I have dreams of it though. I do. If I had the money for a bunker, trust me, I would have one. But I don't. But you know what? I can buy a couple of extra boxes of feminine products. Furniture. The work from home lifestyle helped the furniture industry boom to such an extent that customers are seeing delivery dates months out. In February, Lazy Boy executives said customers could expect delivery dates that are 5 to 9 months out from their order dates. Other furniture companies like Casala, a Seattle-based chain, said they don't expect to get furniture parts until at least December. Woo, that's crazy. Many U.S. furniture stores use parts from China. The global shipping container shortage, as well as delays at key ports in Southern California, have not only made goods more expensive, but have also pushed back delivery dates by several months. The furniture shortage has been exacerbated by a spike in home ownership as the number of available and unsold homes sit at record lows. In other words, a lot of new homeowners are waiting a long time for their living room sets. Now, the furniture thing, I mean, that doesn't seem to be the end of the world, but if you really, really need furniture, you might want to think about floor models and what they have there, unless you're okay with waiting for a long time. Chicken. Don't make me go out and have to kill my chickens in the yard to eat something. I will if I have to, though. I've eaten my chickens before, but usually they're just for egg purposes. But we do have dual purpose meat and egg layers, but I don't know. I'd rather just buy chicken. Like, I've cleaned chickens and stuff before. I'd rather just get it from the store. Although in some ways, I really do feel like if you're going to eat chicken, you should at least have killed and prepped a bird yourself. So I think it gives you a greater respect for what you're eating and what you're doing. But anyway, I digress. Let me get back to the story. If you have been having trouble finding chicken wings, you're not alone. They're hard to come by as supply tightens. Insiders Avery Hartman's reported that chicken wing supply is dwindling while its prices rise, due in part to increased demand and shortages caused by devastating winter storms in Texas. The Washington Post reported that shortages go beyond just chicken wings. With all chicken harder to get a hold of, one phenomenon the Post reports fried chicken sandwiches, which have gained viral popularity in the past few years. McDonald's has even launched its own. Don't worry, though, because that McDonald's chicken sandwich, there's not a whole lot of chicken in that. I'm sure those will still be around. Insiders Mary Mezenal reported that the KFC Nashville hot chicken has been so popular on TikTok that the chain is running out of hot sauce for it. Bacon and hot dogs. Oh no, not the bacon. Not bacon. You guys got to stock up on bacon because bacon is life. It's life. Bacon and hot dogs will be in short supply this summer. I can go without hot dogs, but I need bacon. The pig shortage dates back to the onset of COVID-19 and outbreaks in at least 167 meat processing plants, forcing almost 40 plants to close as of June 2020. As vaccination rates pick up and people prepare for summer vacations and cookouts, analysts told Insiders Natasha Daly demand will outstrip supply. With pork companies still struggling to overcome lower production rates in 2020, the matter only intensified when higher instances of disease hit the hog population this past winter. Imported foods like cheese, coffee, and olive oil. You know, I don't care about coffee because I have a caffeine sensitivity, so I'm good. I have no interest in coffee. I'm also lactose intolerant, so I'm good on the cheese. I'll be a little sad about not being able to get real olive oil. And that's something that's actually really, really hard to do, is to get real olive oil. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the fake olive oil market is just insane. You really have to do a lot of research into trying to find like real olive oil. They're usually in darker bottles and they're expensive. Don't think that that stuff that you're buying at a dollar store, it's all like olive oil for $1. That's not real olive oil. There's like a drop of olive oil in there, and it's a whole bunch of other stuff. Like, other kind of, I don't know if it's canola oil or sunflower oil, but a lot of people are selling fake olive oil. So watch out for that. Imported goods, including coffee, cheese, seafood, now I love seafood, and olive oil are facing months of shipping delays. Dozens of mega container ships are waiting to dock off of the coast of Los Angeles. The site accounts for about 1/3 of U.S. imports, and the backlog is causing ships to wait weeks to dock and unload. Some companies are already seeing the impact on their shelves. In March, Costco said its supplies of cheese, seafood, and olive oil were running low. General Mills said it has been forced to raise prices due to delays and increased shipping costs. Coca-Cola also raised prices to combat the supply chain crunch. Neither company specified which products would be affected. Coffee has also been hit by delays. Bloomberg reported in March, Peet's and J.M. Smucker, the brands behind Folgers and Dunkin' Coffee, have said they're facing rising costs. Reuters reported that in February, port delays pushed coffee prices to their highest point in more than a year. Chlorine. Oh boy. I don't have a pool, but I do have an inflatable hot tub, but I don't use chlorine. I use bromine. This summer, pool owners will see the worst chlorine shortage in U.S. history, according to CNBC. Supplies of the chemical have been strained since a fire at the chlorine manufacturer Biolab in Louisiana in September. Price for chlorine used in pools has nearly doubled this past year and is expected to rise even more to meet demand this summer. Insiders Annabelle Williams reported pool owners could help avoid the shortage by resorting to saltwater pools. And honestly, I would much rather swim in salt water than I would in chlorine. I think probably most people would. Now we have corn. There's a couple reasons why the demand for corn is so high. After an outbreak of swine fever in China, pig herds were decimated, according to Axios, leading to a huge corn demand in China. That spike in demand is coupled with corn crops in Brazil and Argentina experiencing both bad weather and pandemic-related labor shortages. Now corn prices are on a record-setting clip, rising by 16% in April alone. As Fortune reported, there could be a domestic supply issue too. Droughts and a rough winter are both concerning, and if American crops can't fill the gaps, prices could rise even more. This one's kind of scary. Oxygen. New York Times reports that shortages of oxygen for medical purposes have worsened, with the global need tripling over the last 2 months from March to May. Those shortages have particularly devastating effects in India, which has suffered from immense shortages amidst a wave of rising COVID cases. According to the Times, poorer areas were struggling with oxygen supply even prior to the pandemic. As the pandemic progressed, oxygen supply wasn't prioritized, leading to even greater shortages now. Some hospitals may also be unable to use liquid oxygen, one of the more common and cheaper forms of oxygen. In late April, several reports said that hospitals in India had just a few hours of oxygen supply left for patients. According to The Guardian, dozens of countries were contending with shortages a month later, and many have only vaccinated a small fraction of their populations. The pandemic only exacerbated pre-existing oxygen obtainment issues and could lead to devastation for health systems. Ooh, the labor shortages. Finally, a commodity, unlike all others, is in surprisingly short supply: workers. Oh, it's not surprising. It's not surprising at all, especially when people are getting more money to stay at home in America, then you would get to go out and be working. Major labor shortages are hitting businesses across America. Insider's Katie Taylor reported chains like Dunkin' and Starbucks are struggling to find workers, leading to reduced hours and hesitance on opening indoor dining back up. There's a few possible reasons that unemployed workers are opting not to return, according to Insider's Eilert Sheffy. They include workers making more on unemployment benefits than in their prior work, as well as continued concerns over COVID-19 and the need to provide childcare at home. Because I guess we have a lot of these schools that still aren't trying to open up. And school year is almost over. Insider previously reported female tip workers experienced lower tips and increased harassment during the pandemic. One potential solution to ending the shortage, according to Taylor, paying workers more. And I do have a friend who owns a restaurant, and he just increased his starting pay at his restaurant to $18 an hour, because where they are, there's a lot of competition, and Panera just stole one of his workers, offering 19. So really, this is the only thing that people can do to combat this kind of situation. If you can't get people into work because they're making more money sitting at home, you kind of have to increase the wages. That's all I have for you today. Hopefully that was insightful, and I'm hoping to have you guys ahead of the curve. So if there are things that you really need or really need to, or want to stock up on, I suggest you do it now before everybody else figures out what's going on. Some things, I think, like buying lumber, a little too late. The housing market, a little too late. But things like cheese, you want to get some cheese or some olive oil or some feminine products or diapers. I think I'm going to go get some bacon. I'm going to freeze some bacon because I can't live without bacon. That's an essential. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon. But get yourself some supplies. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and please share it. You can help us continue to fight in the war against disinformation by donating at paypal.me/rightleftofcenter. I'm River Wright from Right Left of Center, and if you're watching, you're probably right too.